Well, we're back in the old shop today. The weather's still a little bit too cool to go out in the garage and lay on concrete and hang over cold car fenders. Won't be long though, a couple more days. Matter of fact, you'll see the next Thunderbird video before you'll see this one. Anyway, I'm still working on my Helicopters SX43. It's giving me nothing but horror and heartburn, but that's okay. I'm going to whip that baby. I've never had one quite as complicated as that. I'll remind those who were unfamiliar with it. I took the front off the SX4. It was playing. I took the front off of it, tightened up the dial string because, you know, it was just flopping around in there when I got it. Tightened up the dial spring, put the cover back on, put all the, knobs back on it, and the radio would not work from that moment on. I don't get it. I didn't do anything. I touched nothing electronically. All the knobs, nothing got squished when I put the cover back on, or the front panel. Everything is perfect. I think it was just mere coincidence. I don't know. I checked the tuner to make sure nothing got, when I tightened up the string, it didn't overly tighten it or twist it or make contact and cause things to short out. Everything is perfect on it. I didn't really tighten it that tight. I just kind of snugged it up a little bit to where the knob would, turn the dial. Weird. Anyway, I decided to take a little break from it and dig out the very first plastic radio. I may have shown this in a video years ago. I can't remember. But this is the very first plastic radio I ever bought. It was bought in Petersburg, Virginia. And I think I paid $3 for it. And it was back in the, when would it have been? It would have been about 1982, something like that. And I just kept it all these years. It plays really good. Now I've cleaned the volume knob. Every once in a while you have to do that to radios as you're going to keep them. They just accumulate dirt in there and they get real scratchy. So while I was in there messing around, checking tubes and cleaning things up, I decided to go ahead, because I had it playing from when I worked on it before, but it was still scratchy, but it sounds really good now. It's got great sound to it. I'll tell you what, buying this thing for $3 back in the 70s, they're selling for a whole lot more now. But of course I don't plan to sell this one. This is kind of my baby here. Well, as you can see, the flowers are already starting to come up. Oh, it's springtime's finally hit Arkansas. I am so happy about that. We may have a shot of cold here and there, but overall the flowers are up, and that means we're good weather from now on. Today is March the 2nd. And it's time, with the weather the way it is, to get working on the T-Bird. Today is the 7th of March, and you'll see that my granddaughter-in-law, the wife of our grandson, she came over. She wants to grow some stuff in our garden this year. I have no problem with that. Of course, we had to weed everything. We're down to our last box right now, and we'll soon have that one all weeded out. And it'll be my job for the next couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, to make sure the weeds don't come back. But once the soil's all loosened up, this was our potato patch here. And Cadence, she's been running around working like a dog, right? Not. Anyway, we're going to get rid of the potato patch. I'm just going to rake it all up. We're going to till it, rake it all up. Whatever extra dirt we have, we'll throw it over in these boxes over here. Should be nice and fertile. So this year we're only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes, but that'll be plenty to grow what we need, right, Tanya? Yes. That's right. So she's been working like a little beaver. I've been sitting in the chair just letting her do all the work, right? Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I don't believe these women. Anyway, that's the beginning of our garden season, but we're still not going to be doing any planting of any seedlings and anything until after the 7th of April. Because there's always a chance of a frost around here. On a normal day, there are cars running back and forth this road like crazy. There'd be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars in a row. Talk about ghost city. Look at this. Nothing coming down this way. That old coronavirus scares got everybody spooked. Today is Monday the 16th, and as you can see, there are still no cars anywhere in sight. This place is like a ghost town. Every so often one will go by, but normally this place is a madhouse with people coming and going to work.
There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, there's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, a hole.
I've been wanting to try this for a long time. I've had a can of Flex Seal clear sitting out in my garage for quite a while. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't save a bucket with a few squirts of Flex Seal. I haven't read the instructions yet. I guess I should have, but you know, I don't pay much attention to instructions. The problem is I just don't know those people that write those instructions. They could be trying to fool me. I did read one portion on the can, you know, the drying time. I wanted to know what that was. 48 hours to fully cure. Before putting a second coat on, you're supposed to wait 24 to 48 hours. 2 days. My God, I could run downtown and pick up a bucket in a matter of minutes, but I got to wait 2 days for this stuff to dry. Oh well, you know, such is life. It's been over 24 hours. Let's see how Flex Seal did on this. I only gave it one coat. They say you can give it 2. If you give it 2, you got to wait 2 days. I just wanted to do it with 1. Let's see what happens here now. Well, looky there. No leaks at all. Okay, I'm impressed. It was leaking all over the place before. I'm going to leave this water in here just like that for about a day or so and see if it still holds up. Well, today's the 11th of April, and my granddaughter-in-law was supposed to come over, and we were going to plant the tomato plants. I've got all the racks all set up, and the cucumbers with the fence and all that jazz, and the bell peppers and whatever she wanted to plant. I've already planted scallions and radishes at the very last one way down there. Anyway, she came down sick over at the Little Rock Air Force Base. You know, she had the traditional symptoms of what's going on with this coronavirus, and she works in a senior citizen center, so you know, she's the activity director there, so there's no telling. You know, they have to be cautious. They made her take a coronavirus test, and she'll know. This is what, Saturday? It's amazing. It'll take them till Wednesday to get the results. Meanwhile, I don't want them over here. She doesn't want to come over here, just in case. You never know, because of wifey's condition and mine. You know, I'm probably expendable. Wifey is not, but I've got to repair one of the boxes down there in the end. It needs new screws put in. But other than that, we're good to go. And let me show you what I whipped up here in order to get the tomato plants in the ground. We're going to be planting. I was only going to plant 2 this year, but the wife said nope, plant 4, because Tanya and a couple other people, hospice ladies that take care of her, they like tomatoes and they can't get around to growing a garden, and she said just plant 4 of them. We'll just give a lot of them away, because last year we had so many we didn't know what to do with. The same with the cucumber plants. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Now here's our seedlings, and in here, this is, you know what that looks like? It looks like a milkshake, doesn't it? Well, let me tell you what that is. Tomato plants need calcium to grow without having what they call blossom end rot, or people usually say it fast, they say blossom end rot, but it's actually from the blossom end of the plant. When the flower comes out, the tomato forms, and on the end where the blossom was, you get rot if you don't have enough calcium in the ground to prevent it. So you can generate your own calcium. It's not a problem. Save your eggshells. Take your eggshells that you can save a whole bag of. Wash them out real good, otherwise they stink. Best to do is to wash them all out, put them on the back deck or back porch or in the sun, let them dry, and then throw them in a regular old Walmart bag, and then put them in a blender and blend them up with some water. I mean, just put them on what do they call it on the blender? They call it milky. You know, it makes it really squishy like that, and it turns it basically into a liquid. Liquefy, I think that's what they called it on the blender. Now look, on this stuff here, you don't have to, how much do I put? You know, you dig a hole, you put your plant in, and then you put a little bit of this stuff around the top and let it soak down in. How much do I need? The plant will only use what it wants. Don't worry about overfeeding it with calcium. Alright, we're fixing to put our first one in. I'm going to keep the pot all the way around, except for the bottom. I tore it off. I'll just set it down in there. Now we'll take some of this calcium stuff here. pour it in the old pot. Like that. That's all you need. You don't need a whole lot to begin with. Later in the season you can put some more in there, just lay it up on top, you know. Now we'll just fill in around it, make a nice mound. Well, that's it. The old tomato plants are planted. This one here will be cherry tomatoes, kind of an orangish color. I don't know what they are. The wife likes cherry tomatoes, but these three are big boys. We'll have more tomatoes we can possibly use. And over here the same thing with cucumbers. I put one group on one side and two on the other and just let them crawl up the fence. We'll have cucumbers everywhere. I have to give a lot of them away. And 4 bell pepper plants. I'm really looking forward to tending these this year. I'll have to stake them so they stay up because they get kind of heavy if I can get them to grow bigger. For the last few years they've only grown about a foot, maybe a foot and a half, and that's it. Bad news. And then our good buddy Scott Johnston, who gave us the horseradish, it's really looking nice this year. Got nice little horseradish flowers on it, really pretty. It's really come along. I was worried about it for a while there, but I went ahead and fertilized it real good, dug around, cleaned a lot of stuff that was in the bed out best I could. Thought it was a goner, and then all of a sudden, I guess you just can't kill this stuff. He gave that to me when it was no bigger than no longer than that. Kind of wimpy looking. Gave it to me in a plastic bag up at the Dayton Ham Fest we met up there. And now look at it. I trim away all the bad every year, and it just looks beautiful, I think. And of course, here's our scallions and our radishes. Our bell radishes, whatever they're called, white bottom radishes. I don't know what they're called. I just know I like them and I eat them. And I still have some watermelon radishes that I need to get planted. Someone sent me those seeds. I can't remember who it was. I might plant those over here because I'm not sure that Tanya is going to show up, especially if the test on that coronavirus turns out to be positive. I hope not. I don't want anything to happen to her. She's strong and healthy, and she'd probably pull through it, but she'd be very, very ill. Those of you who have followed my videos know that I am absolutely 100%, 1,000%, 10,000% sick of weed eating. I'm not going to do it anymore. The whole idea was to kill grass in all the areas that I was unable to mow, like this big dip down in here and around my juniper trees over here. You can only get so close, and then you got to weed eat. It's a day and a half to weed eat this yard. And I said, I'm not doing it anymore. So I tried some vinegar. For those of you who might remember, that didn't work very well. And then somebody told me that there's a 30% acidic vinegar that you can buy from Walmart. So the last time our good subscriber and our northern Arkansas Yankee, Johnny U up there, came down, and at the time I swindled him out of his vice, I was talking to him about, going down and buy some more of that vinegar, that 30% stuff in Walmart. He said, no, there's something better. Yeah, because I tried some of that, what was it, Roundup and Ortho stuff, and it's expensive. Guys, like 25 bucks a gallon. I said, no, I don't want to do that either. There's got to be a better way. And believe it or not, there is a better way. And do you know why I know there's a better way? Because Johnny told me so. Those Yankees are good for some things. He told me to go to Walmart in the garden department and pick up this product right here. Eliminator. Now it comes in 2 different kinds. It's a concentrate. This little bottle here will make 9 gallons. And the first time I bought it was in a smaller bottle. It made 6 or 7 gallons, and it was only 12 bucks. Now $12 for 9 or 12. I think it was $12.75. Less than $13 for 9 gallons of grass and weed killer. And this here I think was just a few bucks more, and it's good for the same thing. Now the first time I bought it, you put 3.5 ounces per gallon of water in a pump-up sprayer. This one here you put 6 ounces, and I'm down to about 12 ounces right now. Let me show you what it takes about 2 weeks now for this stuff to do its job, so you can't be impatient. But the price per gallon is unbelievable. It comes out to just like over $1 or something like that, a little more than $1 per gallon this stuff makes. It's fantastic. It works. Let me show you. Here it is along my junipers. Every once in a while now I'll have to come through and give it a little touch spray here and there, anything that might pop through. Now the areas I can get to with my mower, like right here, I don't need to spray. But this, this stuff really, really works. But like I said, it takes about 2 weeks. For a while there, because Johnny told me, he said, look, if this doesn't work, I'll give you triple your money back. I said, okay, that sounds like a deal. And lucky him, it works, so I didn't have to hit him up for triple my money back. But that looks really good, didn't it? And around this this mimosa tree or Japanese silk tree was always a hassle because there's roots and everything. It's just amazing stuff. Now, if you don't mind a few brown spots in your yard, I don't, because I have a huge yard. It's a couple of acres of crap here. It doesn't bother me a bit. But this I gave a couple of good sprays. I sprayed it twice to make sure most of it is, because these roots, they tear up my mower. I can't even find them sometimes when I'm mowing around here. Right here you can see where I skinned part of the root off the other day mowing around. So yeah, this stuff really works. Really great. I really appreciate him telling me about this, because the price is good, the value is good, it's readily available, and it works, you know. All along those trees over there. All along. Around my well house. The old well house. It still works, believe it or not. And around the redbud tree. Different, you know, just wherever. It just works fantastic. Guess what? I mowed the yard the other day. I just got on the mower and just mowed the entire place and never had to get off and pull weeds or do weed eating or nothing. Just mow, mow, mow. It was great. Pulled it back in the garage, I was done. 45 minutes, do the whole yard. By the way, getting back to that calcium on those tomato plants. Now there's other ways you can get calcium into your tomato plants. You got to have it. And you also need magnesium also, which you can get from Epsom salts. About a gallon of water to a half a teaspoon of Epsom salts. Mix it around, put it in a sprayer and spray it on the leaves. If you want it, you have to put calcium on there, otherwise the bottom of that tomato, that far end, is just going to get all black and rotty and everything. You can take milk and mix it 20% milk, 80% water, a gallon of water. Mix it up and then again spray it on the leaves. You know, 2 or 3 times throughout the season, maybe more. Or you can hard boil eggs, and I used the entire shell as you saw, and I mixed it in the blender, and that's one way of doing it. But there's another way. You don't have to put it in the soil. You can just spray it on the leaves again, as you can hard boil eggs, and once they're hard boiled, you know, I'm talking about maybe 6, 7 eggs, and then save the water. Just put the water in a sprayer and spray it, because during the boiling process a lot of that calcium on those eggshells comes out and goes into the water. So you can do it that way too. So there's homebrew way of supplying magnesium as well as calcium to your tomato plants with stuff just you have, right? Just that you use every day. You probably never thought about. You know, I have the worst luck when it comes to planting the garden. I just planted this yesterday. Now look at, we were only supposed to get a little rain here, and then all of a sudden it developed into big rain, and it's just flooding it completely. I think that tomatoes can take that, but over here we got the same problem. It's not too bad, but it's still pretty flooded there in the middle. All the way at the end, the radishes are probably already floated out. The last 2 boxes down there, nothing's in them, thankfully. But that's what's going on in Arkansas on the 12th of September. Well, how's it doing? How is it doing? We had a whole lot of rain here recently, so I never did bother to come out and check it. Most of that you see right there is rain and whatever blew out of the trees during the heavy winds. No leaks. All right, no leaks. Old Flex Seal worked. I'll tell you what I'm going to do though. I'm going to go ahead and let it dry out, and I'm going to give it a second coat. I'm going to give it a second shot. Just know that it does work. Well, we weathered the rains, every one of them. I mean, this was just flooded. Everything was flooded in the boxes. And then last night, the 14th of April, we had a frost. And I said, "Oh, are you kidding me? We've never had a frost on the 14th of April that I can remember." But we sure did. But the tomato plants survived. Everything survived. I thought sure it was going to be the end of it, you know, because it won't happen until they put plants in the ground. It just never ever does. So I don't know about the cucumbers. They're looking kind of puny. Maybe they got bit a little bit by that frost. I don't know. Yeah, that one there looks kind of rough. And of course, that may just be from the transplant. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to make it. Our bell peppers are looking really good. So, and I planted some. I did plant some bush beans. This one here is empty. But I planted several rows of, I think they call them Blue Lake bush beans. They're the green, the long green beans. I think they're the kind they used to call snap beans, maybe? I don't know. What do I know about it? And I planted them for our granddaughter-in-law, who I hope will be over here tomorrow or the next day. By the way, she came up testing negative on that coronavirus. We are very, very happy to hear that. So we'll go ahead and end this video right now. Most of the stuff I showed you is probably pretty boring to most of you. So until next time, the next video will be another Thunderbird video. The parts should be in tomorrow, and then the rest of them in on Monday. And then we can put a few more things together and get moving on that again. Until next time, this is John.